You post something vulnerable. 3 people like it, and for about 10 minutes you feel less alone. Then it wears off and you do it again. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system trying to solve a problem that started long before you opened the app. Most people think oversharing is about wanting attention. It's not. It's about needing proof that you exist in a way that matters, that someone, somewhere, is paying attention. And once you understand why your brain does this, you'll never see your feed the same way. We're going to talk about what's really happening when you overshare, the psychology nobody mentions, why it makes you feel weaker, not stronger, and why the people who post the least seem to have the most power. Here's what's actually going on. Oversharing doesn't come from confidence. It comes from a question you've been asking since childhood. If I show you who I am, will you stay? People who overshare often grew up feeling invisible. Maybe your emotions were dismissed. Maybe love felt conditional, like you had to earn it by being interesting, helpful, or entertaining. So you learned, if I share enough, perform enough, prove enough, maybe I'll finally be kept. And now, years later, you're doing the same thing on Instagram, posting your thoughts, your struggles, your growth, waiting for someone to say, I see you, you matter. But here's what your brain doesn't tell you. You're not looking for connection, you're looking for relief. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Every time you post something personal and people respond, your brain gets a hit of dopamine. Not because you've healed, but because you've been seen. And being seen, even by strangers, feels like you've been chosen. So you do it again. You train your brain to expect relief through exposure. And slowly, without realizing it, you start needing the audience. You can't process an emotion without posting about it. You can't have a realization without sharing it. You can't feel real unless someone reacts. That's not healing. That's dependence. And your subconscious knows it. That's why the relief never lasts. That's why 10 minutes after posting, you feel emptier than before. Here's the part nobody admits. When you share everything, people stop leaning in. Not because they don't care, but because there's nothing left to wonder about. You've removed the mystery. You've made yourself available in a way that feels desperate, even if you don't mean it that way. Think about the people you respect most, the ones who feel solid, grounded. They don't need to explain themselves. They don't justify their choices to strangers. They don't broadcast their healing journey for applause. They just are. And that calm, that self-possession, it's magnetic, because silence is a boundary, and boundaries signal that you know your worth. When you overshare, you're unconsciously saying, I need you to tell me I'm okay. And people feel it. They like your posts, sure, but they don't respect your presence. They consume you, but they don't remember you. This is why silence scares people. The people who stay quiet aren't hiding. They've just realized something you're starting to understand now. Your inner world doesn't need an audience to be real. When you stop oversharing, something shifts. You stop checking for reactions. You stop living in performance mode. You stop needing strangers to validate your emotions before you can trust them. And that space, that quiet, becomes where your real power grows. You start noticing who actually shows up for you, not who double taps, who asks, who remembers, who sees you without needing a caption. The strongest version of you isn't the one who shares everything. It's the one who knows what to keep sacred, who doesn't need to be understood by everyone to feel whole. You don't have to prove your healing. You don't have to perform your growth. You don't have to post your way into mattering. You already matter. You just forgot because you've been asking the wrong people for confirmation. You're not someone who posts for validation anymore. You're someone who observes, who protects their energy, who chooses silence not as avoidance, but as power. If this hit different, save it. Come back when you feel the urge to overshare. And if you want more like this, psychology that actually makes you think, subscribe. I make these for people like you. Not everything needs to be seen to be real. Some things grow stronger in the quiet. And so do you.